Hello. Just caught me using my new iQuill on my iParchment. Very state of the art. Hello, how are you? Hope you're well. As you've probably gathered, that all of these videos are entirely experimental at the moment. And who knows, one day I may cast aside this need to introduce myself in such a seemingly obsequious manner. But I'd never want to take you for granted. You are taking time out to watch this after all, and therefore I think it is beholden on me to thank you for that. Anyhow, do you know what I wanted to talk about today? It's probably something that's not as fashionable as it used to be, and that's reading. Well, books in general, which I know we may be reaching the point of a swan song, kind of, for the written material. I don't think they'll ever be sort of go out completely. But I have heard and seen and conversations where teachers are now just starting to discuss the issue that the people they are teaching learn everything via computers, and that it is a lot of it may be my generation and older that our prejudices are informed towards books because we've grown up with them and they've always had such a sacred place, literally sacred place, for the last sort of almost sort of 600 years since the printing press, which interestingly enough the first books were surrounded by, in papyruses in Egypt, were surrounded by bodyguards and by guards who would keep away anybody from seeing them, to the holy writ that was only known to the various priesthoods in Egypt. So the written word has always had a kind of magic behind it. And on a personal level, very, 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 very much so. Purely because I didn't have a massively intimate or close relationship with my dad. But I can give him one thing, and possibly the greatest gift he gave me was when I was round about the age of 5 or 6. He took me by the hand and he took me to the local public lending library, which is separated into two parts. There was the upstairs, which was the adults, and then there was the downstairs, which was for children and teenagers. And I grew up on a council estate, working class parents, Irish immigrants to London. My dad was a crane driver. My mum, when she did work, sort of cleaned offices and was a messenger in the civil service. Some real, working class. But my dad was just such an avid reader, so he took me to this library and basically sort of opened the doors and sort of coaxed me gently inside. And then he wandered off to the library upstairs, and it was possibly the greatest gift. In fact, it is the greatest gift that one single human being can pass on to another, which is to engender that love of reading. Because through him and through that and through my intimacy with books has just everything I've gone through in life has basically formulated from that. The capacity to get inside other people's minds, which is basically what any book is. It's a physical manifestation of their thought processes, has allowed me to, I go by the maxim that one should read widely, deeply and often, and that you should sort of live your life as if you're going to live forever and study as if you're going to die tomorrow. Or it could be the other way around, but one of those makes sense. Erasmus, ask him. Well, don't ask him, obviously he's dead a long time ago. But books, read one of his books. There you go, case in point. But it is that capacity to think that I have gained via the written word, and the ability to lose myself inside other people's minds, which has set me up, I think anyhow, for a degree of, it's not arrogance, there is a small degree of self-confidence, but just because once you've read so many books, and the practical ones that allow you that have relevance to the real world, or have wisdom therein and compassion, shall we say, allow you to face with a degree of confidence anybody and any other human being. They just provide you with some of the wit and the insight. I'm sure you're probably bored of looking at my face by now. I don't know if I can't quite do the unblinking thing that Michael Caine says, that one should never blink in the camera, but I'm sure this probably looks more like staring eyes bread knife. So I shall show you some books while I keep talking, I suppose. I'm going to try and do this show slowly, because obviously I have no particular experience of this kind of thing. Otherwise I know it starts to make one feel a little seasick. So there you go, there's Charles Dickens waiting alongside there. I'm not going to do it so slowly that you can actually read every single title. But yes, books, books, books. As has been told, that my tombstone should be a large open book in granite with the words, "I'll be with you in a minute." I'm just finishing this bit. I'm standing on a chair now. There you go, shows how much I enjoy my books. All kinds. Well, there's the bard himself. And there you go, look, a William Shakespeare action figure. Could be a very, very great sign of sadness. The reason why I fell in love so utterly and completely with my current partner, the first present she bought me, the complete works of William Shakespeare as done by the BBC, all 32 of his plays. Absolutely fantastic. Why? Because you can put up the subtitles, which means you can follow along and you've got an idea what the absolute genius man himself was on about. Double layered. This isn't, am I being arrogant and showing off? I'm trying not to. I'm trying to show that the only reason I can talk like this, the only reason I have a vaguely, no, I'm not brilliant, I'm not, magniloquent as they say, but it's all double layered. Now I'm up on my desk. Isn't that weird? Isn't it like, what was the film with Robin Williams? Carpe Diem or what have you, when you stand on your desks? I think people just think you're mad if you did that nowadays. Yes, I mean, I'm not, fantastically eloquent or charming or the ability to dazzle crowds. But anything I have, any knowledge or insight, etc., has been because of this, because of reading, really, and learning. And there is, once you learn to learn, and once you kind of adopt that lifelong thing, that genuinely it becomes a thing of absolute great beauty, because there is nothing, as Samuel Johnson said, there is nothing I'd rather know than not know, regardless. That's an old playing card, or an old sort of, people used to collect them before internet. And now we have Shakespeare action figures, which I think we should all be given as children, which would make his work at least a lot less scary, which is not scary once you learn it. Am I waffling now? I was once at a party once, an Australian friend of mine summed it up absolutely fantastically. When he looked at me, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "Do you know what? I've got to admire you, Vince. You keep talking that shit long after you must know everybody stopped listening to you." So I shall take his advice. But there you go, books and things I owe my father, because he was the one who allowed me to first get interested into all this absolutely amazing world. And I urge you, I cannot urge you enough, that if you want genuine freedom, as Cicero said, freedom is participation in power. And if you want that participation in power, and the way that the world works now, you've got to get smart, and you've got to get smart quick. And the way that you get smart quick is learning stuff. I know you don't want to hear this. Teach people to love, or show people, make people laugh, and they'll love you. Make them think, and they will kill you. So I hope you won't kill me. And I'm going to sign off now. So thank you very, very, very much for listening this far, really. And that was it. That was the joy of reading, and I urge you, I cannot stress it enough. If you can pass it on to your children, or if you yourself haven't picked up a book for a while, honestly, you will never ever be disappointed by it. I'm going to get back to my scribing now. Dear my Lord Goldsworthy, I have heard of a new thing that calleth itself the net of Inter, and I was wondering if you could find it within your capacious heart to lend me 5 guineas to go to Mrs. Miggins' Pie Shop and Cafe of Nets of Inter. Thank you.